Told y'all, Miles Morales is my favorite Marvel character, and I'm dying. I'm dying for a live action Miles Morales. I don't want them just to do anything. It needs to be perfect, perfectly executed. Now, I wish. I don't know if they did, because I don't know the the voice actor of the Miles Morales. But if he looks exactly how the animated version looks, just go ahead and cast him. Like, he already got the voice. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Perfect. I'm not talking about. I don't really like the way. I like the way the that Miles Morales looks compared to the video game, the Spider-Man video game one looks. I need someone that looks like him. Pause. But I guess we got a live action setting up Spider-Man 4. Remember what I'm about to say Tobey Maguire. That's how old I am. Tom Holland said he's not just coming back for any Spider-Man. It has to be worth it. What could be better than a Miles Morales and Tom Holland Spider-Man movie? There's nothing better than that. But let's go. Well,
Well, Marvel Studios and Sony has a lot of plans for Spider-Man moving forward in the MCU, in the Sony Spider-Verse, and even in the animated Spider-Verse, it looks like. And for those who are worried about the future of Spider-Man after Avengers Secret Wars, don't worry, he's going to be a major part of the MCU moving forward, and it looks like Miles Morales is also going to be coming in and is going to be a major part of the Spider-Man world. So a lot to talk about, but first, big thank you to Marvel. This game coming up was the game lot event first. Holiday also team mentioned into download. Now, in regards to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he is going to be pretty much the main character moving forward in the MCU. According to the insider My Time to Shine Hello, who talked about this about a week ago, Tom Holland will be the lead of the next two Avengers films, so both the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. There was a little bit of panic, there was some fear out there that Spider-Man might not make it past Avengers Secret Wars, and this was because of a few things.
Now, are we going to have to get a Spider-Man movie first? Because remember, like, no one knows about Spider-Man anymore. Or are they just going to... That's going to be a lot to explain in the Kang Dynasty. We're already trying to get the whole Kang story. They're going to have something that explains how everyone gets to know Spider-Man again. I just don't know how they're going to do it. It'll have to be a Spider-Man movie, right? Gotta be.
We know that Marvel Studios is going to be rebooting the MCU, at least a soft reboot. And we've heard from Joanna Robinson, the author of MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, that Kevin Feige is pretty much going to take this soft reboot as an opportunity to kind of cut out what doesn't work and keep what does work. But don't worry, Spider-Man works. He's been working extremely well for the MCU and for Sony for a pretty long time now, with the Homecoming trilogy being an absolute knock out of the park for Marvel and Sony's, plus the projects that Spider-Man has appeared in the MCU as well have done incredibly well. He is one of the most loved characters of all time. So even after Avengers Secret Wars, Tom Holland is going to be sticking around as Spider-Man. In fact, if what we have heard about his contract is true, he'll have 2 more Spider-Man films to complete after Secret Wars, Spider-Man 5 and Spider-Man 6. We've only heard that Spider-Man 4 is going to come before Avengers Secret Wars. So don't worry.
Told you. They gotta come out, bro, because we need to. There are puzzle pieces that need to get put together before we get the whole Avengers shit, bro.
About Spider-Man's future in the MCU. However, we have heard that Miles Morales is indeed going to be coming to the MCU in the Spider-Man films soon. However, this might be a little bit...
I don't like that picture at all. What the... What type of picture is this? Like, why they got his lips looking like that? Like a woman. I'm not trying to get canceled.
Bit more complicated than just regular Spider-Man in the MCU because of the rights with Sony. According to the insider My Time to Shine Hello, Miles Morales is going to appear in the new Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland, meaning Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6 in the MCU. So obviously that would bring Miles into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is awesome news and doesn't come as that big of a surprise, especially since producer Amy Pascal confirmed on the red carpet for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse to Variety that a live-action Miles Morales project and Spider-Woman project were both in the works right now, and she stated you'll see all of it. So she confirmed a live action Miles Morales is coming. The only question is, are there going to be two different Miles Moraleses, one in the MCU and one in the Sony Spider-Verse? Although it would be a very Sony
That's why I
move
hate
to have
Sony.
two different versions of the character exist in two different universes, we know that Marvel Studios really fought against Sony to have Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, in the Venom movies because they didn't want to confuse people and make them confuse and switch up the universes with each other, the Sony universe and the MCU. So with Miles coming to the MCU, I would kind of assume that it would be sort of the same thing, that they wouldn't want to get the universes confused and he would simply join the MCU, and maybe if Sony wanted to at some point in time, they could.
I know it's had nothing to do with it. All right, so his name's. All right, so this is the I can't think of his name. His uncle, the Prowler. This is the Prowler, right? This is what always confused me. I know it's so stupid and little. His name's Aaron Davis. All right, he's black. Miles Morales is black in Puerto Rico, right? Last name Morales. Parents are married. The dad's black. The mom Puerto Rican. Her last name is Morales. Why is his dad's last name Morales and not Davis? And if his dad's last name is Davis, why does he have his mom's last name and not the Davis last name? Let me know in the comments.
MCU. So with Miles coming to the MCU, I would kind of assume that it would be sort of the same thing, that they wouldn't want to get the universes confused and he would simply join the MCU, and maybe if Sony wanted to at some point in time, they could bring him over. We know Sony is trying to build up to a pretty big Spider-Geddon Spider-Verse event in which Tom Holland's Spider-Man will probably jump over as well. Plus, we are getting more and more teases for Spider-Man in Sony Spider-Verse. Madam Web is even introducing Ben Parker, Peter Parker's father. But could they have plans to introduce their own characters outside of the MCU? That remains a mystery right now. Either way, it looks like there is going to be a lot coming for Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And according to My Time to Shine Hello, Miles is entering the MCU, and this is most likely and sadly happening so Miles Morales can actually take the spot of the main Spider-Man in the MCU. If
Makes
what we heard
sense.
about Tom Holland's contract is true, then Tom Holland is only
That only makes sense because Tom Holland ain't getting no younger. I'm not saying he's older or nothing, but Spider-Man is always like a teen to a young adult. Bro, he came out, what, 2018, 5 years ago. He was probably like 17. He's probably like mid-20s. So by the time we get done with all these, he's probably going to be down there 30. Down there old man. So it only makes sense that to Miles Morales to take over the reins. That's why they got to make sure they get a kid that's like 17 so they have a good 10-year span with him, just like they had with him. To me, everyone talks about, all the other Spider-Mans are good, but are the best. Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man, hands down, bro. He has the look, pause. He has like the sense of humor, the everything about Spider-Man. Sorry.
only going to have 2 or 3 films after Avengers Secret Wars, and then he is most likely going to be done with the character. At that point in time, he'll have played the character for a pretty long time, and he's already stated multiple times that as an actor, he doesn't want to play the character for too long, and he would love for somebody else to come in, somebody young and very passionate, to take over.
Why he
that
look so
mantle.
fat?
And it looks like that character that's
Look like me in the damn
could be
Spider-Man.
Miles Morales. Instead of simply replacing a Peter Parker, we are going to get a Miles Morales. Now the only question really is, when exactly is Miles Morales going to come into the MCU? Well, the insider My Time to Shine Hello last week simply said in Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies, talking about multiple movies. So one would assume the latest that we'll see Miles is Spider-Man 5. Maybe he doesn't come in Spider-Man 4, the next film, but even speaking story-wise and continuity-wise, it would make sense to have him at least show up in Spider-Man 5, especially if he is going to take the spot of Tom Holland's Peter Parker. It would make sense to introduce him in 5, start setting him up, start building him up, and then in 6, which would be Tom Holland's farewell, officially pass on the mantle to him. So of course there is the possibility that Miles could show up in Spider-Man 4, however he just might not don a Spider-Man suit yet. He could meet Peter Parker at Feast, since that is a story that we're all familiar with. And they set up Feast in the last film, Spider-Man No Way Home. So he might cameo in Spider-Man 4, and of course there is the possibility that he could get involved with Peter Parker's Spider-Man as soon as Spider-Man 4. But if they gradually work up to it, we're probably looking at an introduction to Miles, just Miles, in Spider-Man 4. Then in Spider-Man 5, we see Miles Morales as Spider-Man training under Peter Parker, and then in Spider-Man 6, he'll take on the mantle of the new Spider-Man in the MCU. And if they're just kind of introducing his character in the MCU in Spider-Man 4, then he probably won't show up in Secret Wars. However, it does kind of look like the Sony animated Spider-Verse could be connecting with the MCU after all, and we could see maybe an animated Miles Morales show up in Avengers Secret Wars. I think this would be really, really cool to see.
That'll be dope.
They could do that and have whoever is going to be playing the live action Miles Morales in the MCU simply play the animated Miles Morales when he jumps over into the live action world in Secret Wars. That would be really, really cool. This would mean we'd have to wait until Spider-Man 5 to get introduced to him, but it would set it up in a very nice way. Tom Holland's Spider-Man could meet Miles Morales in Secret Wars, and then in Spider-Man 5, he could run into Miles in the MCU and say, hey, I know your secret. I'm Spider-Man. Let's talk. Plus, not to mention, it seems like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse showed us the multiverse as Loki created it at the end of Loki Season 2 with the Yggdrasil tree. If you take a look, it looks pretty identical. So perhaps Marvel Studios and Sony were talking before Across the Spider-Verse came out and said, hey, these are our plans. This is what we plan to do. If you want to kind of line up a little bit, perhaps these are plans to have the two universes cross over in Secret Wars, or perhaps they're just trying to keep some continuity in between the two universes, even if it doesn't mean a big crossover. However, I would be pretty shocked if we didn't see at least one character from the Sony animated Spider-Verse cross over into the MCU for Avengers Secret Wars. And hopefully that does happen, fingers crossed. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Spider-Man's future is bright, the future of Miles Morales is bright, and perhaps we'll see a crossover between the Sony Spider-Verse and the MCU relatively soon. But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this.
Yeah, so it all makes sense. Bro, everything's about to be good with him. I think we're on the dark times of MCU, and I think they're about to get a lot brighter. I think we're about to really get a better version of MCU. Because a lot of things, bro, you always go, it's like a roller coaster, ups and downs. Think about it. When we're in, what was it, the Dark Ages, whatever, what's the Thor movie I'm thinking of? Dark something, Dark Time, Dark Ages, whatever. Everyone was shitting on MCU, and then everyone was like, oh, this is so bad. This is such a bad movie. Dark World, that's what it's called. This is such a bad movie. Oh, MCU lost it. And then we get Thanos. But right now, we're back down. Once we start getting all these movies back up, we're about to be right back up there. I don't think MCU I think people just expect too much from the MCU. Just chill, bro. Enjoy the movies. Enjoy the shows. And we out.
This video and subscribe.